Holy shit, I just had to stop filming because my candle nearly started a fire. As you can see, there's a black stain on my lamp now, so that's fun. Hi guys, it's Ash, your truth-bombing fairy godmother for everything love, dating, and relationships. Just quickly before we dive into today's topic, I apologize if there's a little bit of background noise in this one today, a bit of like humming, white noise sound. My air conditioning is running and I normally don't like to have it on when I film, but it's just too warm. I attempted to start filming this with the air conditioner off and I just couldn't do it. So she's gonna be hanging out with us today. I've gotten so many comments about this and requesting this topic on my last few videos. So as promised, today's video is going to be all about how to deal when your ex moves on and what it means when your ex moves on with someone else, especially if it happens really quickly. Because those of us who have been there or are there right now know how hard this is. We know how much this hurts, so we're gonna go ahead and unpack it. But first, as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below for new love, dating, and relationship videos from me every single week. And also, don't forget to hit that little notification bell below. My uploading days are a little bit all over the place at the moment, so go ahead and make sure you tap that button so that you can be notified every single time I post. As we've talked about quite a bit here lately, breakups are so f***ing hard. They are so emotionally, mentally, and even physically painful, and there's just no nice way of dancing around that fact. But watching an ex move on, and specifically watching an ex move on with someone else rather quickly when doing so yourself just feels like an impossible task, and you're still feeling very broken and just light years away from being able to move on yourself is just like an extra little twist of the knife. So first and foremost, allow me to very sincerely validate your pain and hurt feelings if this is something that you're experiencing, and feeling hurt over it is completely normal and expected. It is absolutely the way that you should be feeling if you are experiencing this. As for why your ex has done this or how they were able to move on so quickly with someone else when doing so yourself feels like such an impossible task, there could be a variety of reasons. Perhaps they are unwilling to sit with the pain and difficult emotions that generally arise when a relationship ends, so they need the distraction of a new and shiny person. Or perhaps they're one of those people that just has a difficult time being alone and they need someone else to fill voids within them, or they want to be with someone that can save them from having to fill those voids themselves, which, newsflash, that doesn't actually work in a long-term genuine way, but that's a whole other topic entirely. Or, and I know this may be a little bit difficult to hear, it is possible that your ex has simply connected with someone who is a more compatible match for them. Again, I know that's a little bit stingy to hear, but I don't think it's fair to say that every single person who moves on quickly after a relationship has ended has done so for unhealthy or disingenuous reasons. Does that mean that this person is better than you? No, absolutely not. Of course not. But it is possible that this person is simply a better match for your ex, just like you will find someone who is a better, more suitable match for you. It's not about someone being better than the other. It's simply about fit. But to be honest, as tempting as it is to want to understand the whys and the hows, speculating on those reasons actually isn't helpful at all. Because the truth of it is, your ex's reasons for moving on, or your ex's reasons for moving on quickly, actually have nothing to do with you. Your ex being with another person does not detract from your worth. And this is where we go so wrong, because we think that it does. Oftentimes, in addition to mourning the loss of the possibility of reconciling with our exes, what keeps us stuck and hurting more than anything else are the self-deprecating thoughts and false beliefs that we tell ourselves about them moving on, not them actually moving on. It's what we tell ourselves about that. And I've written a few examples of those here. We must not have meant that much to them after all. They must not have truly loved us. This new person must be giving our ex something that we didn't or couldn't. There must be something wrong with us for still hurting while our ex seems to no longer care. Do any of those ring a bell? I bet they do. These damaging, false, self-deprecating thoughts and beliefs keep us stuck by feeding this inner beast that ultimately convinces us that we are not worthy, that we are inadequate, or that we are not enough. So directing your attention to this is where true healing and moving on happens. And I know I'm being a little bit redundant with this message, and it may not be what you really want to hear. So many people want some quick fix or black magic or a way to trick their ex into realizing that they don't want to be with this person after all and that you were the one for them all along. But you will never hear me put out content on how to win someone back. I don't believe in trying to trick or manipulate someone into wanting to be with you. It's inauthentic, and it does not honor the fact that you are worth being with someone who enthusiastically chooses you on their own. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. So your ex has moved on quicker than you. Moving on is not a competition, and you not being ready to move on yet shows how authentically and deeply you love, which is a wonderful thing and something that you should be actively celebrating about yourself, not feeling defeated, embarrassed, or ashamed over. And learning to not only accept this, but embrace it instead of trying to deny or stuff those emotions away is exactly how you combat those false beliefs and self-deprecating messages. Learning to accept your emotions for exactly where they are is everything. Even if you still love this person, that's okay. I know that's kind of a wild concept. For some reason, we're taught that moving on equates to feeling no affection or love towards this person anymore. And I could not disagree with that more. Moving on is actually the acceptance of wherever your emotions are at. So practice bringing acceptance to the fact that you still feel love towards this person and that you don't feel over it yet. That's okay. It's entirely okay. You're allowed to love this person from afar. Practice bringing acceptance to the fact that that's simply where you're at right now. That's where you're at in your healing journey. But the more you dig your heels in and resist that, the more you're actually interrupting that healing process. Something I really want to challenge you not to do if you're going through this, as tempting as it might be, is to avoid the urge to puff yourself up and act like you're not bothered when you truly are. I see this all the time when people are hurt about an ex moving on. They go on these missions, often through social media, to prove that they either don't care or that they too have moved on with someone else. The moving on process happens so uniquely and at its own unique rate for everyone. So trying to level up to your ex's process or journey is not helpful. Please don't go on social media and blast how happy and in love you are with some new person, because doing so is just not authentic to your true feelings. You're disservicing yourself by doing this. Acknowledging that you feel hurt, remaining present with this feeling instead of just slapping a band-aid over it, and further getting to the root of why them moving on is so painful for you and what triggers or fears it's bringing up for you is how you truly heal. It doesn't happen by mimicking the rate at which your ex has seemingly moved on. If this is where you're at right now, I want you to ask yourself, what does my ex moving on bring up for me? What wounds, fears, or triggers is this shining a light on? In addition to the thoughts I mentioned earlier, like a fear of not being enough, or perhaps there being something wrong with you for not moving on as quickly as your ex seemingly has. And again, I say seemingly because things are often not what they seem. There can be fears of abandonment or fears of being forgotten about or left behind or alone, and acknowledging these things is really important. Bringing awareness and understanding to these fears is so vital in being able to move on. And just like you would respond to a close friend who is voicing these types of fears to you, see if you can practice lovingly responding to yourself in the same compassionate, understanding, non-judgmental way. Acknowledge your fears, allow them to be heard, and then, most importantly, make sure you follow them up with the truth. And I've written down a few of these truths here, which are: you are loved, and your ex choosing someone else doesn't negate your worth or have anything to do with your inherent value. You deserve to be chosen and loved by someone that excitedly chooses you and only you in return. It's okay to feel hurt by watching someone you care about move on. This is a normal human experience and shows how authentically and deeply you love those who enter your life. You will find happiness and love with someone else again, but you give yourself full permission to do so at your own genuine rate. There are valid reasons you are not with this person any longer, and them moving on with someone else is further evidence that the relationship was not the right fit for you either. Getting your ex away from this person and back to you is not a true solution to your pain and fears, as these exist within you, with or without your ex. I want to encourage you to see if you can identify some of your own false beliefs you may be carrying and telling yourself about your ex moving on, and what fears them moving on is bringing up for you. And then, just like I've done with the examples I provided, see if you can replace those false beliefs with those more higher guidance truths. See if you can harness your own wise, loving adult energy, because this is something that all of us have within us, and being able to connect with that part of yourself is such a key part of healing from the heartbreak caused by an ex moving on with someone else. And just a really quick note before wrapping this up, the healing process is not linear. You will have good days and you will have bad days, and just because you're feeling really shit one day does not mean that you're back at square one or that you haven't moved on at all. Grief comes and goes in waves, and these things absolutely take time. So please do yourself a huge favor and remove any timeline expectations you may be placing against yourself. Okay guys, as always, if you're open to sharing your own stories, I would absolutely love to hear about it. Or if you have your own practices on how to get over your ex being with someone else, or your own rituals that you've implemented that have aided your own journey to healing, then please comment them down below. I'm sending you guys lots of love, and I will see you next week.